Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well and welcome back to the AI Tech Explained Right channel, the place for AI professionals and enthusiasts to stay updated with AI advances. In this video, I will talk about prompt engineering and evaluations, tips and tricks based on a presentation made by Anthropic team. I went through the presentation while I was preparing Claude 3 video and I said, why not creating a separate video on prompt engineering and evaluations? So that's what I'm doing. So before diving deeper, let's see what prompt engineering is. And to do so, we need to know what a prompt is. So a prompt is the information you pass into a large language model to elicit a response. This includes the task context, the task that we are working on, data that we provide to the model, conversation or action history that we passed in the past, instructions, examples, and more. Here is an example of a prompt containing different parts that I was talking about. For example, the first part is the task context, and you have an example on the right. You will be acting as an AI career coach, name it Joe, created by the company Ad Astra, and so on. After that, we can provide the tone context as well. It means we tell the model, for example, you should maintain a friendly customer service tone. We can give background data, documents, and images. It means the model will be based on these data to answer to the question. So we can tell this to the model by saying, here is the career guidance document you should reference when answering the user, and we put the document in the placeholders. We can provide detailed task descriptions as well, as we see on the right. So we say, here are some important rules for the interaction. So we just tell the model to stay in character as Joe and not to invent another name, for example. We tell it, if you are unsure how to respond, say, sorry, I didn't understand. Could you repeat the question? So this helps to avoid hallucinations where the model tries to give an answer even if it doesn't have the answer. We can give examples of a conversation as well, like what we see here on the right in green. We can give the conversation history to give more context to the model on which the model could be based to answer to the following questions. We give after that the task description or the request, so the question that we need to ask to the model. For example, how do you respond to the user's questions? We ask the model to think step by step, and we could even provide the output format. And as a last step, we can provide what we call pre-filled response. We will see it in the next slides. Here is a real example. So we ask the model, what is 2 plus 2? It answers 4. It can be a multiple choice question, and here the model answers, this is an addition problem. Or we can ask the same question in different languages when the model is multilingual. Let's see how to engineer a good prompt now. Here you have a link that I advise you to check out. I will put the link in the video description. So first thing to start with is to develop test cases to test our prompts, and we shouldn't forget what we call edge cases. And among the most common edge cases, we code ones where the model does not have enough information to yield a good answer, when the user input is poor, including typos, harmful content, off-topic requests, or nonsense gibberish. We have overly complex user input as well. And last but not least, when we don't have a user input at all. After that, we engineer preliminary prompts. We test these prompts against cases. We evaluate the model response. We refine the prompt, and we loop on these steps till we choose the best ones. We test against the held out evals, and we ship the polished prompt in the last step. Now let's compare between two interesting categories of prompts, which are consumer and enterprise prompts. For the consumer prompts, they are more open-ended and less structured. That's why we don't necessarily have variables in the prompt, and they are more oriented to include data pasted in non-structured way. They are more meant for one-off tasks. They are more conversational and explanatory, and they are meant to be on the shorter side. In contrast, enterprise prompts are templatized with variables in place of directly pasted data and inputs. They are meant for high throughput repetitive or scaled tasks. They are highly structured and they are more meant to be on the longer side. Let's explore some empirical evaluations now. An evaluation in prompt engineering refers to the process of evaluating an LLM's performance on a given dataset after it has been trained. We use evaluations for two purposes. First one is to assess a model's knowledge of a specific domain or capability on a given task, or to measure its progress or change when we shift between model generation. So as you see here in the diagram, you have the model as a black box. We evaluate it on examples, and we have a score as an output to evaluate its performance. Let's look at an example of evaluation. As the input, we can have the entire prompt or only a variable content that will be injected in the prompt. As an example, we have give me a delicious recipe for something. We have the golden output, which is what we call the ground truth, so the answer that the model should generate. We find guidelines for grading a model's actual response, which is the score that will be assigned to the model's answers, which are kind of the rules based on which the score is generated. Once the model's response is generated, an eval score is returned to assess the model's response based on the metric definition and the golden output. Here is an example of the model's evaluation, which is a multiple choice question eval. As we have a multiple choice question, this is considered as one of the simplest evaluation type, as it's around closed form questions. We have a clear answer key, as the model has to choose among one of the provided answers, and it's easy to automate. Another evaluation type is the exact match evaluation, which is considered as a little bit challenging in more complex situations because the model has to return the exact correct answer. Another evaluation metric is the string match, which is a little bit less strict because, as we see in the second example, the correct answer is when the string ABCD is in the response. So whatever the string that will be returned by the model, if it contains the string ABCD, it's considered to be correct. So that's why it's less strict as an evaluation. Another evaluation example is the open answer evaluation. It's open because the question is open-ended. It's more used in cases where we need to assess more advanced knowledge, taste knowledge, where we have multiple possible solutions. That's why the name open answer. Or in cases of multi-step processes. This kind of evaluation is graded by humans, and it can be graded by models as well, what we call using a model as a judge. Another model judges the model's answer, and with this we gain scalability, speed, but it's less accurate compared to a human evaluation. And in all cases, a very clear rubric is needed. Here is an example of an open answer eval. We have the prompt. In the prompt, we ask, how do I make a chocolate cake? We have the LLM response and the rubric on the right. In the rubric, we precise the fact that a good answer will have the following ingredients, and when this is checked in the LLM response, we score the model's answer, which is 10 in this case. Here is the same example, but the model's answer is evaluated using two models or two metrics. For example, the first model gives a score of 5 and the second one gives a score of 10, and after that we can choose between both scores, or we can even average these scores depending on the use case, of course. As in any task in machine learning or in any other field, we have some evals which are better than others. If we take the less desired ones, we have the open-ended because they require human judgment, which could be subjective in many cases. They are of higher quality but very low volume as they are treated one by one. In contrast, the most desirable evaluations are the ones which are very detailed and specific, so no room to subjective evaluations. When they are fully automatable, we gain speed and time, and with this we'll have a higher volume of evaluated example, even if with a little bit lower quality. So this is it guys for today. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for my videos for more ones like this one. I hope you liked the video. Don't hesitate to put a thumb up if it's the case, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to have more videos like this one. Don't hesitate to put a comment if you need more details on any concept about which I talked so far, and see you next time.